Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something we've all done at some point, ignoring our problems. It might feel easier to look the other way, pretend it's not there, or hope it'll resolve itself. But let me tell you this, what you ignore doesn't disappear. It grows, it festers, and eventually it demands your attention in ways you might not be prepared for. Problems are not obstacles meant to hold you back. They're opportunities to grow, evolve, and strengthen your character. Every time life presents you with a challenge, it's offering you a moment to step up, to push your boundaries, and to become more than who you were yesterday. Ignoring problems doesn't just delay the inevitable, it denies you the chance to grow through them. Growth requires discomfort, and discomfort comes from confronting the things we'd rather avoid. Think back to the most defining moments of your life. Were they easy? Were they smooth? Or were they moments where you were forced to stretch yourself, to find a part of you that you didn't even know existed? Maybe it was a financial struggle, a tough decision at work, or a conflict in a relationship. Whatever the situation, when you chose to face it rather than avoid it, you learned something. You discovered new strength, a new skill, or a new perspective. That's the beauty of problems. They have the power to shape you in ways that comfort never will. Now let's address why people tend to ignore their problems. It's not because they don't care. It's often because they feel overwhelmed, scared, or uncertain about how to handle them. There's a belief that by ignoring the issue, it might resolve itself or disappear altogether. But the truth is, problems don't vanish on their own. They don't dissolve simply because you've looked the other way. In fact, they often grow bigger and more complex the longer you avoid them. When you choose to confront a problem, you immediately shift from a position of avoidance to a position of power. You're no longer a victim of circumstance, you're the one taking control. Facing a problem isn't about knowing all the answers right away, it's about being willing to ask the right questions. What is this problem trying to teach me? What resources do I need to resolve it? Who can I reach out to for guidance? Every problem carries a lesson, and when you embrace it, you gain wisdom and resilience. Think about the last time you overcame something difficult. How did you feel afterward? Accomplished? Stronger? More capable? That's the reward of confronting your challenges. You emerge on the other side with a deeper understanding of yourself and what you're capable of. But here's the thing, growth doesn't come from merely identifying the problem, it comes from taking action. And action, no matter how small, is a powerful antidote to fear and uncertainty. When you take that first step, whether it's having a difficult conversation, creating a plan, or seeking help, you're signaling to yourself that you're willing to move forward. That willingness is the key to growth. It's not about perfection or immediate solutions, it's about progress. Another important point is that problems often carry hidden opportunities. What may seem like a setback at first glance can become a stepping stone to something greater. A business failure might teach you how to innovate. A strained relationship might show you the value of communication and vulnerability. A health scare might push you to prioritize self-care and well-being. The opportunity is there, but only if you're willing to look for it and embrace it. It's also worth noting that the process of facing problems builds confidence. The more you confront challenges, the more you realize that you're capable of handling them. This creates a positive cycle. Each problem you overcome strengthens your belief in yourself, which in turn makes you more willing to face future challenges. Over time, you begin to see problems not as threats, but as chances to grow and succeed. There's no denying that problems can be uncomfortable and even painful. But pain is a part of life. It's a signal that something needs your attention. Ignoring that signal doesn't make it go away, it just delays the healing or resolution that could come from addressing it. When you lean into that discomfort, you allow yourself to process, adapt, and evolve. That's how growth happens, not by avoiding the storm, but by weathering it. So, the next time you're tempted to ignore a problem, remind yourself that it's not just a challenge, it's an opportunity. It's an invitation to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. Facing your problems isn't just about solving them, it's about becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever life throws your way. That's the real growth, and it's a gift that no one can take away from you. Your life is shaped by what you focus on. The things you direct your energy and attention toward grow, while the things you ignore fade into the background. This principle is incredibly powerful, yet often misunderstood when it comes to problems. Many people focus on the problem itself, the pain, the frustration, the unfairness of it all, rather than on the potential solutions. Others avoid focusing on it altogether, hoping it will resolve itself. But neither of these approaches leads to true progress. The key is to focus not on the problem itself, but on the outcome you want to create. When you focus solely on the problem, it magnifies in your mind. You begin to feel overwhelmed, as if the issue is insurmountable. Your thoughts spiral into negativity, and you lose sight of the fact that every problem has a solution, or at the very least, a way to manage it. On the other hand, when you shift your focus to solutions, you activate your resourcefulness. You start to see possibilities, opportunities, and ways forward. Your energy is no longer wasted on worrying about what's wrong. It's directed toward creating what's right. Focusing on solutions doesn't mean ignoring the reality of the problem. It means acknowledging it, understanding it, and then asking yourself empowering questions like, what can I do about this? Or what's the first step I can take to improve this situation? These questions direct your mind toward action. They break the cycle of rumination and move you into a mindset of problem solving. The moment you shift your focus, you change your emotional state. Instead of feeling helpless, you feel motivated and capable. There's another important element to focus. It determines your emotional experience. Think about this. Two people can face the exact same problem, but their focus can lead them down completely different paths. One might fixate on how unfair or difficult the situation is, leading to frustration and despair. The other might focus on what they can learn from the experience or how they can turn it into an opportunity, leading to feelings of empowerment and hope. The problem doesn't change, but their experience of it does. This is the power of focus. It's also worth noting that focusing on solutions doesn't mean ignoring the emotions that come with a problem. It's natural to feel upset, stressed, or even angry when things go wrong, but dwelling on those emotions keeps you stuck. Instead, acknowledge how you feel and then ask yourself, what's next? Or how can I move forward? This shift in focus allows you to process your emotions while still taking action. It's not about suppressing how you feel, it's about refusing to let those feelings paralyze you. Another crucial aspect of focus is that it's contagious. When you focus on solutions, you inspire those around you to do the same. This is especially important in group settings, whether it's your family, your workplace, or your community. When people see you staying calm, resourceful, and action-oriented in the face of challenges, they're more likely to adopt the same mindset. Your focus sets the tone, and that tone can create a ripple effect that transforms the entire dynamic of the situation. Now, let's talk about how focus shapes your identity. Every time you choose to focus on solutions rather than problems, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who can handle challenges. This belief becomes part of who you are. You begin to see yourself as resilient, capable, and resourceful. Over time, this identity becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you see yourself as someone who can solve problems, the more willing you are to take on challenges and the more success you'll have in overcoming them. It's a cycle of growth that starts with a simple shift in focus. One of the most practical ways to harness the power of focus is to cultivate clarity about what you want. When a problem arises, don't just think about what's wrong, think about what a successful resolution would look like. Be specific. What outcome do you want? What would it feel like to achieve it? When you have a clear vision of your desired result, your mind naturally starts to look for ways to achieve it. Clarity creates focus, and focus creates momentum. Finally, it's important to remember that focus is a skill. It's something you can strengthen with practice. Start small. The next time you face a challenge, pause and ask yourself where your focus is. Are you dwelling on the problem, or are you directing your energy towards solutions? The more you practice shifting your focus, the easier it becomes. Over time, it will feel natural to approach problems with a solution-oriented mindset. In the end, your focus determines your direction. If you fixate on problems, you stay stuck. But if you focus on solutions, you move forward. The choice is yours, and it's a choice you get to make every single day. What you focus on grows. So choose wisely. Energy is one of your most valuable resources. It fuels everything you do, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. But energy is finite, and how you choose to use it determines the quality of your life. When you ignore problems, you're not saving energy, you're actually wasting it. Suppressing or avoiding an issue requires constant effort. You push it to the back of your mind, but it lingers there, draining your mental and emotional capacity. Ignoring problems doesn't free you. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of avoidance that robs you of your energy and potential. Think about the last time you avoided a problem. Maybe it was a tough conversation you didn't want to have, a task you kept putting off, or a decision you were too afraid to make. Even though you weren't actively dealing with it, it was still there, occupying space in your mind. You might have felt an underlying tension, a sense of unease, or even guilt. That's the cost of avoidance. It takes up valuable energy that could be used for creativity, productivity, or simply enjoying life. Avoidance creates a kind of background noise in your mind that prevents you from being fully present. The truth is, confronting a problem requires far less energy than avoiding it over time. Yes, it might feel difficult or uncomfortable in the moment, but once you face it, you release the mental and emotional weight you've been carrying. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid. There's a brief moment of discomfort, but then you're free to heal and move forward. Avoidance, on the other hand, is like leaving the Band-Aid on while the wound festers underneath. And the longer you wait, the more energy it takes to deal with the consequences. When you choose to confront your problems, you reclaim your power. Instead of letting the problem control you, you take charge of the situation. This shift in mindset is energizing. It allows you to focus your energy on solutions and actions rather than on worry and fear. You begin to see progress, even if it's small, and that progress fuels your motivation. Action creates momentum, and momentum generates more energy. It's a positive cycle that starts with the decision to face what you've been avoiding. Managing your energy also requires clarity about your priorities. Not every problem deserves the same amount of attention or effort. Some issues are minor and can be resolved quickly, while others are more complex and require a strategic approach. When you avoid problems, you often lose sight of this distinction. Everything starts to feel overwhelming because it's all piled up in your mind. But when you confront your challenges, you can prioritize them, breaking them down into manageable pieces. This not only makes the process less daunting, but also helps you allocate your energy where it will have the greatest impact. Another key aspect of energy management is understanding the role of emotions. Problems often trigger negative emotions like fear, frustration, or anxiety. These emotions are natural, but if you let them dominate your focus, they can drain your energy. The key is not to suppress these emotions, but to channel them. Use fear as a signal that something needs your attention. Use frustration as fuel to push for change. When you acknowledge your emotions and then direct them toward constructive action, you prevent them from depleting your energy. It's also important to recognize the role of mindset in energy management. When you approach problems with a mindset of curiosity and growth, they feel less like obstacles and more like opportunities. This shift in perspective can be incredibly energizing. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can this make me strong?" Questions like these open your mind to possibilities and help you focus your energy on growth rather than resistance. Another way to protect and manage your energy is to set boundaries. Sometimes, problems aren't entirely yours to solve. Maybe you've taken on too much responsibility for other people's issues, or perhaps you're letting external distractions drain your focus. It's okay to say no. It's okay to delegate or ask for help. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary if you want to show up as your best self for the things that truly matter. Finally, remember that energy is replenishable. When you feel drained, it's a signal to pause and recharge. Self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Take time to rest, reflect, and do things that bring you joy. The better you care for yourself, the more energy you'll have to face life's challenges. Rest isn't avoidance, it's preparation. It's what allows you to come back stronger and more focused. In the end, ignoring your problems isn't saving you energy, it's costing you more than you realize. Facing them with courage and clarity might feel difficult in the moment, but it's the most efficient and empowering way to use your energy. When you stop avoiding and start addressing, you free yourself to move forward with purpose, confidence, and strength. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow, and every action you take toward resolution is a step toward reclaiming your energy and your life. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's the antidote to fear, the cure for procrastination, and the single most powerful step you can take toward solving any problem. Many people fall into the trap of overthinking when faced with challenges. They analyze every detail, consider all possible outcomes, and often end up stuck in a cycle of inaction. But no amount of thinking can replace the momentum created by even the smallest action. Progress begins the moment you stop waiting for the perfect plan and start moving forward. The truth is, perfection is an illusion. If you wait for the right time or the perfect conditions to act, you'll spend your life waiting. Conditions are rarely perfect, and the right time is a decision you make, not something you find. Action doesn't require perfection, it requires courage. Courage to take the first step, even if it's small, even if it's uncertain. That first step might not solve the entire problem, but it breaks the inertia. It sets things in motion, and momentum starts to build. Momentum is a powerful force. Once you take one step, the next one becomes easier, and the one after that easier still. Each action builds on the last, creating a ripple effect that can lead to significant progress. This is why action, no matter how small, is so critical. Even tiny steps, like making a phone call, drafting an email, or brainstorming ideas, can create a sense of accomplishment and motivation to keep going. Every small victory reinforces your belief in your ability to handle the challenge, and that belief fuels further action. One of the reasons people hesitate to take action is fear of failure. They worry about making the wrong choice, taking the wrong step, or not achieving the desired outcome. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. Every failure is a lesson, a piece of feedback that helps you adjust your approach and move closer to your goal. Action isn't about getting it right every time. It's about being willing to try, to learn, and to adapt. The only true failure is staying stuck in inaction. Another important aspect of action is clarity. Often, we don't have all the answers when we start, but clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from doing. When you take action, even if you're not entirely sure of the outcome, you gain new information. You learn what works and what doesn't. You discover strengths you didn't know you had and resources you didn't realize were available. Each step brings you closer to understanding the path forward. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Taking action also shifts your mindset. When you're stuck in inaction, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, helpless, or even defeated. But the moment you start moving, even in the smallest way, your perspective changes. You stop seeing the problem as insurmountable and start seeing it as something you can influence. Action gives you a sense of control, and that control is empowering. It reminds you that you're not at the mercy of your circumstances. You have the ability to create change. It's also important to recognize that action isn't just about solving the problem. It's about building confidence and resilience. Every time you face a challenge and take steps to address it, you prove to yourself that you're capable. This builds a reservoir of self-trust that you can draw on in future challenges. You begin to see yourself not as someone who avoids problems, but as someone who takes them on and grows through them. This shift in identity is transformative, and it starts with action. One of the most effective ways to build momentum is to focus on small, manageable steps. When a problem feels overwhelming, break it down into smaller pieces. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now? Maybe it's making a list of priorities, reaching out to someone for advice, or taking the first step in a process. These small actions might seem insignificant on their own, but they add up. Each one moves you closer to a solution and builds the habit of taking action. Another key to consistent action is commitment. Decide in advance that you're going to show up for yourself, no matter how difficult the situation feels. Commitment doesn't mean you won't make mistakes or face setbacks. It means you'll keep going anyway. When you're committed to taking action, you create a sense of accountability to yourself. You stop waiting for external motivation and start relying on your internal drive to move forward. In the end, action is what transforms ideas into reality, problems into solutions, and challenges into opportunities. It's not about taking giant leaps every time. It's about taking the next step, and then the next, and then the next. Progress isn't always linear, and it doesn't have to be perfect. What matters is that you keep moving. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence fuels growth. The life you want, the changes you seek, and the person you aspire to become all start with one thing: action. Take that step.